Live, go.
Okay.
Ecam too, Terry.
I just hit Ecam. Okay. Hello, everyone. This is Biz Chicks TV. This is the place where you can find tips and tools to help you do business better. We're here to help you run a profitable business that's fun to run and to take the hassle out of your hustle. And today I'm joined by my co-host, Ms. Francine Gregory, real estate entrepreneur and tech diva, and by our guest host, Ms. Caren, all the way from Toronto, Canada. You're doing the Island Girl Hustle. She's going to be talking to us from the Hustle Chronicles today about how to do business better. So sit back, get a pencil and pen, because you're going to get some really good information that you'll want to capture during the course of the show. And I'm Terralina from California Cover-Ups, and we're the Biz Chicks. So welcome to our broadcast. You can find us here every day at 10 o'clock Pacific time on bizchicks.live. All right, how you doing, Fran?
Doing very well. Welcome to all of the live viewers and replay viewers. Let's get this party started.
Okay.
Welcome, everybody, and thanks, Fran and Terry, for having me here every Wednesday. We are doing for the month of May the Hustle Chronicles, and that simply means we're just talking about we're storytelling. We're talking about stories that has happened, some successes, and with some pain, and that's just part of what life is. Offer up to us, but just how we look at it depends on what happens. And I'm Coach Caren, your money mindset gal at Island Girl Hustle. All right, and so today I bring to you Clary's story. And as we've been doing, we've got these girls that have been hanging out in some beautiful outfits. My art is getting better.
Good. Cool. I think your art
is what I tell myself.
I find it extremely entertaining.
And so today we're talking Clary's story. Really and truly, when you think about it, we're talking about Clary's story, but it's we track back to her mom, who's Mrs. Radford. So we are talking about a single mom refusing to live less than she was accustomed to. That's the story, and I'll reveal as we go along. And so the three things we want to talk about with her is the uncomfortable state of Mrs. Radford, the investigative state, and then the road to recovery. And each and every one of us go through these states, even if we never call it the names I'm giving it, but it's just part of life and where it gets us. And so this is a single mom, Miss Radford, and she became single, not because it was planned for. Sudden is the word, yes. Hubby filed for divorce, left her without anything and just walked away. And she was just left in a state of shock. And it took her a full month to really understand that there's no husband left. When it did happen to her, she gathered all her stuff and she sold everything that she could except the kids' clothes and a couple of chairs and rented a home for her and the girls, which was 4 girls. I think one of the biggest things she didn't bargain for is understanding money. That's what I talk about a lot, and mindset. Now, she had a great mindset in terms of she wanted the kids to stay in a home that they were accustomed to. But because she didn't understand money, moving them into a big home so they can have their own bedrooms and everything was not really sensible, but she wanted to keep them in a life that they were accustomed to. And hence why I said, the state of she wanting to live nothing less than she was accustomed to and bring the girls along with her. So this is where she get to learn about money and what you have to do and all these wonderful things. So as we know, we do show and tell. This is our first set of pictures here. So this is Clary. Okay. We had Jen. They had a baby, Mary, and this is Miss Rutherford. And one of the beauties about her that I really had admired about her, in terms of all this stuff that we're going to talk about that was going on, she kept a lipstick on her lips. I didn't have anything red to put in, but lipstick stayed on. She wore her heels and she dressed well. So if you saw her, you couldn't tell the hardship was happening. And that in itself kept her so that she was able to look after her children. And it was hard as heck because one of the best things she did was take the money from the sales and paid 3 months rent ahead in advance. But once that was done, there was no other income. And hence, because she didn't understand money and didn't know quite a few things, she got robbed, if you will, out of alimony and child support for the first, roughly around the first year before she was able to get anything, just because her husband made good money and she was never included in how it was spent. It was spent, the kids were in private school, and she just assumed everything was okay. And he had some downfalls and he never discussed it with her. So he just decided divorce was the way to go. That way he doesn't have to deal with anything. So that was a real shock to her system. So I wanted to talk a little bit about the uncomfortable state of Mrs. Rutherford. Her husband filed for a divorce and he left her with 4 girls. She had to leave her home and they had to rebuild together with no money. And they had to come into a new environment. The kids were used to private school. Now they had to come to public school. Hence, that's how I met them. They were at one of the best public schools, but that's where they had to come. And the eldest daughter was in my class, and her name was Clary. And although everybody was embarrassed about the situation, I will say, after Clary got close to me and realized what I did, she thought I could be of service to her mom. So number 2 is the investigative and inquiring stages. And let me tell you, this is one of the hardest stages for every single one of us, no matter how you rich or you poor. It is hard to have a conversation with anybody, much as a younger person. It is so hard. And so these were the first things I wanted to know from her. How could I help after I hear the story? I wanted to know how I could help. And I could not know, but I could talk to her because my mom was a divorcee. And even though it wasn't exactly the kind of story that happened, it was similar in a lot of areas in how my mom got the divorce. She also didn't have any say in it. It was just done, and she heard of it. Talk about shock to your soul. The shock come all the way down to all of us. Because when the adult is shocked, the kids are in shock. They don't know they're in shock, but they're getting the after effects, if you will. So that's how I was relatable. And that's the thing you have to understand. When you find clients, even if you don't know it, you can relate to them in areas that you really don't know, but somehow your soul knows about it. That's how I see it. The spirit talking to each other. So the right person get in contact with our right person to have the conversation. Now, no in-depth conversation, but I was able to empathize in that area. And I asked her what she can do, and she said she can't do anything. She never even really raised her kids. You know, they had people that raised the kids. So this was a woman I'm talking to who come from really good means. Really good means. But she'd always said her grandmother had made this product and she liked it and she learned how to make it. That she can do. And we started talking about what would make her to do it. Now, she resisted me because she had 3 months of rent paid, overhead paid. And in her mind, she was waiting for the husband to come back because she wasn't accepting that he wasn't going to come back.
Okay, so she was in denial.
Big time.
Okay.
Big time. Second, she said if he doesn't come back, at least he's going to send child support because apparently he promised this. Nada. My friend and I even went to his workplace and he left a message that they shouldn't visit him there. So, zippity-doo-dah. So she was in month 2 and they didn't have much to eat. And they had a little baby. And the bigger ones can scram by, but the baby were crying a lot because milk and baby needs, you know. And not I think, I know Clary's mom, Mrs. Radford, couldn't, she was in such denial that having relationship with the kids was hard. So talking to them and giving them orders and having them follow things. And these are kids who come from a place where they never pick up a broom and sweep. They never wash dishes. They didn't have to do anything.
I've never lived in that place. So, okay.
Yeah, never been to that place. Never been to that place, but I went to visit that place, and the house was in uproar. That's all I could say about it. It took me a full week of going to get it organized. First of all, because nobody did anything. So here I was teaching how to wash the dishes, how to sweep the floor, how to mop the floor. And yes, you're going to have to bathe this baby because nobody's coming to do it. Period.
Okay, that's very interesting.
Nobody's coming to do it. And the kids didn't even have a uniform because, of course, they come to this school. Anyway. So I'm pausing right here before I go forward because I want you to understand, and I want whoever listens to this and the replay to understand. Sometimes when we're talking about money and mindset, we often envision the people without money, who's poor, who have nothing. But people can have and then crash, and because they've never visited the place that you and I might know, this is strange for them. So to get their minds now to start thinking about someone without money, it was the hardest. I think I talk about people without money, but for somebody with money to talk to them about not having money, because the conversation would go like this. This is what you know to do, so you might have to make this to sell. And she was like, well, why would I do that when he's going to send me money? At least he said, within 6 months, I'm going to get money. But then you'll be behind in rent 3 months. But it doesn't matter because the person will wait because they'll know you eventually paid. No, they'll throw you out on the road. Nobody's waiting on your money. So this was the hardest part in getting her to understand that she has to be responsible, A, for the 4 girls, and B, to pay the rent, and C, to take care of herself because nobody's coming to save her at all. Even if she prays, she still had to actually do the work.
Yes.
So she had to understand. So Miss Rutherford, number 2, had to understand how to provide and understand that she had to be a leader. And she had to acknowledge that the hubby was not coming back because this was the hardest part, that he was not returning. And that she has to lead these children because he's been in a authority figure forever over her and the children. So she was never the kind of mom who say, you know, you got the dishes to wash or you got this to do. If the maid come in to get it done and the kids free to do whatever they want to do. Friend and I that went to school together was very good at adopting because she said she'd always look at the lady and know what to do. But there was, because they were the only lead in the house, when you get there, things are just thrown. The kids come in, they kick off their shoe, they drop their clothing, and they walk away. And especially Jen, she used to fight me a lot on, she's not picking up the things. She was the second in line. She's I'm not doing it. It's my mom's fault, and if she just find it, have him come back, then we wouldn't have to do anything.
So
oh my God.
It sounds like the whole family was in denial that they and that they were going to have to shift what they were doing and think about things in a new way. And nobody wanted to do that. Nobody wanted to make that effort that it was going to take to not be able to do this, what we had been doing. And we see that in businesses all the time. The GDPR just came out. Nobody wants to make a shift to get their stuff straight.
You're nailing it. You're nailing it there. So could you imagine me telling this woman that she's going to have to sell something? She let me know it was degrading.
Yeah.
And it was beyond her. And then when I finally got her around to try it, she came in heels.
Came in heels? Yeah.
Highest heels you can find. And she had to stand. There's no saying.
Well, I think, let's think of it this way. What would happen if the royal family lost all their money? That's all they know is presence and how to be, you know, the privilege of just being. So that's a whole different cultural shift.
Altogether.
Same as she was taught.
That's it. So I was debating which chronicles I would bring today, but I wanted us to get a shift from where we were going. We talk about the people who don't have money. We talk about my story, which is more an emotional side. And today I wanted to bring and showcase even people who had money. When they lose the money, what happens to their mind? And just as Fran was talking about business, how the shift, because it's not what happened to you, is what you do about it. And it's how to shift. And it doesn't matter if you're poor or you're rich, the shift still needs to happen. And I always think God intercede when he sees you just wasting the life he gave you. Because you're just there wasting it away. You obviously had no direction. You were squandering away money. And then it was taken away from you so abruptly that you had to wake up. You had to see there's a different way. Now, I don't know everything. Because, of course, I am only hearing what I needed to hear to get them to the next place. Yeah, I know it was far deeper than I have ever heard. You know, I know the basis. I know what I needed to know to get them to where they need to be. And so when it took, she was 2 months and 1 week in, and she finally said to me, she didn't say to me actually, she sent me a note saying that she's willing to do whatever it is. Because she had 3 weeks left, and then she'd have to find rent. And so this is part of my little dribbles. That's why I'm putting in some other stuff in there, where it comes in where what I ask her to make and do seems so small and so insignificant that she said to me, I don't know how this is going to work. I said, A, you got to clean up your house. B, you have to you got to write a schedule and set it up for your kids. And you got to spend this whole weekend reinforcing what you asked them to do. You have to be their leader and their cheerleader. And you can't let them get away with it. And it didn't matter how they cried. Like, you literally have to have them do it. Because what I knew she needed to do is have these 3 girls, not the baby, but the 3 girls have assignments for the business we're going to set up. B, help her with the baby because she needed the help. So they had to work together as one unit. It wasn't, I eat a plate that I might know. Everybody had a turn in washing dishes. And once she perfected the item, I wanted her to now teach it to the girls so that everybody had a part in it. And then when she realized who's better at a section, then they get that section. Because this is what's going to feed them and clothe them. Because that's what they have. And I always talk about our product. And she had a product, she mixed with Native American and stuff. So it's directly from her race that caused her to make it. And we call it chicken foot, but they always made with a kind of a peas inside. And it was so different that it was a seller. Like, it was a seller. It sold from the get-go. People loved it. That was the first challenge. The second challenge was getting her to actually believe in the product. So I'm bringing this to the table again, because that's what we do. We got a product. We know it's, people told us it's what you do. And this is what we do. You think it's good? Are you sure anybody gonna want it? And we know we question it to death. So even though she was sold out within an hour, she was convinced that it was just a food. We had to do over and over and over. The second thing was it was hard to get her to understand that you can make more. You got the time. You might need to, sleep is important, but in your state, you might have to miss some sleep. You can't get 8 hours anymore. You got to cut back on your sleep because you got to be doing this product. And it was a fight for a full week. She fought me on it. I keep marking down the date on when she's going to be out of money. The second part was, even though you make all this money, you can't spend all this money. We have to reinvest it. The reason we started a product is because we sell another piece of furniture she had and some jewelry to get the capital. Then we took the capital and we invested it in what was needed, which was bags, the material to make it, and set out the timeline. So it took her about 2 hours to begin with, and I wanted her to break it down to an hour for the first batch, because this is a woman, I'm saying, can't make things, didn't know how to do things. So she had to learn how to make a small batch properly before we could extend it. And to be able, if you're here, you're cooking or you're doing anything, and you decide to get into catering, you were listening to this, and you say, I don't know how to cook in bulk. Here's the simplest way. You cook the biggest amount you know how that will be tasty. And you repeat it 3, 4, 6 times. Don't worry with bulk cooking, because your taste will be consistent. After a while, you'll learn how to bulk cook. But to begin with, you need to know how to make the biggest amount you can make with the tastiest taste you can put in it. Get it? Okayed by the public, meaning people buy it, want it. Because that's important. Don't keep making if nobody wants to buy it. And then you make several batches in the same proportion. And as you get confident and you feel better about yourself, now you can make double the amount in one batch. Then another double the amount in another batch until you get to the big scale. Don't run into the scale. It's going to take time. But it's better to take more time doing it the way I'm talking about versus the whole big thing together. And that's for the people who's in food. If you're in food and you ever want to make it in a big scale, don't rush and make a big scale. You're going to mess it up royally. And this is from experience.
That's good. So far we heard that the situation was such that she was in denial, and she was in denial. She had 3 months of rent reserved, but it took her to 2 months and a week before she woke up and said, "Oh, wait, I now need
to be up against it." Yeah.
Yes. And see, if you can, I hear that pressure is not good. You can't think well when you're under pressure. You know, you got, okay, where am I going to get the rent? That is a motivator, but that motivator was there 3 months ago.
But it wasn't crisis.
No.
Some people don't really move until they're in crisis because they're still in denial, which is what I presume is going on here, that Prince Charming is coming.
Dude, the horse is the white horse and him on it, not coming. He's not coming back. So, okay, Cinderella, you're going to have to figure this out and make a different choice.
Exactly.
You got to figure out, you can't stay there. And a lot of times we're okay, it's going to come to pass and it's going to work.
Well, not only that, then there's pride. It sounded like there was some pride issues going on.
Very much so. Very much so. Lots of pride.
You show up in heels, stand all day.
Pride. Very prideful. You can have pride in what you do. I tell my kids all the time that you can be prideful because it really stops you from getting to the next level, to getting to the next place. And before I get to the road to recovery, you know, she did start, number 3, she did started building confidence. And she even considered a move from where she was living.
Okay.
But the key that I didn't want her to move is because she was just building her clientele. And there was a physical clientele. She was certain of an income Monday to Friday from the school kids.
Okay.
Now, this school I went to, as I said, was a Methodist school, but it was in a rich area.
Okay.
The Canadians come there for bauxite and they live around there. The Americans come there. If you pass there after Friday, the place is dead because it's a lot of foreigners that live in the area. And a lot of foreigners kids came to our school in that area if you live there. If you didn't go to a private school, that would be the school you go to because it's a Christian school. So if you're from a Christian background, you'd want your kids to go there. And so I didn't want her to leave because she had got the Monday to Friday kids. And the few kids, if they liked it enough, they will come at least on Saturday morning and she'll get some sales. So she agreed, but of course I got back there and she had a boyfriend because her mind did not fully accept the process we were going through. So she went and got herself a boyfriend because he was supposedly gonna help.
See, but the help was within her all the time. And people do this a lot. They reach out everywhere out here when help is already here. She had a product that everybody
was working.
Yeah, she had a product that everybody liked. She had someone to help her sell the product and give her coaching on what to do so that she can be successful at it. But she's still looking out over here like, wait, they can help me and I won't have to do this.
Well, she was looking back to what she knew, which was relationships where we had been paying for everything.
Yes.
And so it was comfortable. You know what I mean?
Yes. Yeah. Home.
Turn to our comfort. comfortable place, the familiar place.
Yes, and that's home. And that's why we don't leave home even when things are bad, because we know it. It's something we know we're comfortable with. And that's why people say, why you don't want to leave home. They don't mean physically. They mean in the mind. Because when you're comfortable where you are, where you've been, it's hard to move forward. So, of course, you got a boyfriend who's sweet talker that he's going to come and help do X, Y, and Z. And I didn't think he lasted 2 weeks because there's 4 kids, and all that promises did not go very well.
Not a time left after 4 kids. But, Francine, this is like who moved the cheese? Who moved my cheese?
Well, yeah, because stuff, okay, it's going to happen all the time. Something's going to happen in your business or in your life, and you're going to need to make an adjustment. Oh, that doesn't work anymore. I need to now do this. And if you like, oh my God, I have to do this. They changed this. Okay, so they changed it. What are you going to do about it?
It's changed.
And I think another issue is we don't really value training. Here was Caren to train her how to fix this.
And see, she would have had answer for throughout all of it. She had somebody that was willing to walk her through, somebody that was willing to coach her through it. All she had to do was show up
and sent somebody.
Oh, helicopter, submarine, and a boat. And she had help, but she wanted to reach back and get back in that comfortable place. I want to get back in the bed and pull the covers over my head.
Middle of the journey, let's go back to Egypt.
Yep. At least I was better in Egypt, At least Pharaoh told me what to do and I was okay there. I didn't have to think on my own.
It was familiar.
Yes. And that's like no place like home. They just want to be comfortable. So he left, and we were right back there. And Claire was so upset and embarrassed. But she said, because lots of kids wouldn't talk to her, so she was back to me. She said, Karen, you got to come talk to her. So we were back. The boyfriend left, and we resumed things. Of course, we were off for the summer. And I don't live close. I told you guys 2.5 hours away. Got back there in September. And somebody told her over the summer that she needs to get a job. So she went out and get a job. Which means the girls now is left to babysit the baby. Which means the disorder returned. And she's coming in too tired to lead them to where they need to be. So the whole place in a mess. Now let me pause and let me say something, because I'm not going to lie. I did not want to do it again.
You didn't want to do it again?
I didn't want to do it again.
Of course not.
I didn't, because I was a child at the time too. I did not want to help her again. Yeah, I was only 12, 13. I did not want to help her again. I didn't want to help her again. But by then, our principal had gotten involved because I guess one of the kids came to school and wasn't looking tidy. And I tell you how our school was. Like, we were checked from her head right down. Your hair had to be neat. Your nails had to be groomed. It was a school who looked after your emotional, your physical, your academics. It was really brisk on a whole lot of things. Like teachers could teach at our school. One school, you went to teachers college, you get in, you're fine. They were rigorous there. Like you're getting, and you're on a new level of training. And this is from teachers who were teaching. They told me, they're like, this is a hard school to get into. You guys don't understand. Like, we finished teachers training college, we got our degree, and we get here, we're in a 6-month probation to see if you can really teach the kids. Because our level is really high. We're really at a high level. And our principal got involved because the kids, they would come in looking clean and tidy. And principals would come to your homes to see what's going on. If they see something out of whack, they're there. They're going to send a letter, and then they're coming to investigate. And Claire said, to me that our principal was going to be there in a week's time if her mom didn't get things together. So that's how I went back in to help them get the home in order. But I didn't want to do it because I felt, and of course I wasn't this experienced. I didn't understand that it's a process that people have to go through this. I'm not going to pretend that I knew these things. I'm talking about something that was out of my water. I'm just thinking as a child, like, okay, just wash the dishes, just wash the clothing, just fold them and put them away.
It's what people do, right?
Yeah. I mean, just cook the food that's in the freezer. Like, you got a fridge. just cook the food. I mean, this is not rocket science. Now I can tell you, I totally get why she couldn't cook. I could totally understand why she couldn't clean. Those things seem so passive and wouldn't take her to where she needs to be. But it's the very thing that would take her where she needs to be. Because when she's cleaning, because she says to me later, you know, I had so many thoughts when I was cleaning, I could develop this other product. You know, and you can show me to do X, Y, and Z. Because when you're doing something that has nothing to do with what your God-given talent is, what your passion is, He will instruct you and He'll give you ideas, because you're going to come back now to the stuff you're supposed to do and implement it. At least that's what you're supposed to do. And this is what experience have taught me. When I am, you know, doing things that has nothing to do with my business, you know, like my daughter said, Mom, I need a coming home from the hospital dress, you know, and I'm busy doing what I'm doing. Like, okay, so she's like, yeah, but Mom, you know, you can make that in an hour. It's true. But I have things in my mind. Honestly, I didn't want to stop and do it. And then, you know, I had a conversation. I'm like, you know, really, Karen, if it wouldn't even take, you know, half an hour, you can solo dress. So I give in. And I learned also to have pen and paper next to me, because that's when the greatest ideas come to me, right? Because I didn't know what I was going to make. So I have to design the dress first of all, before I go make the dress, so I can cut the fabric. And once I finish designing the dress, then a whole bunch of new ideas come. So I end up making 2 dresses. Poor little thing. And you know,
I'm going to put a pause
bring some ideas to you. Go ahead, Fran.
That's another business. Who ever thought of having a dress to come home from the hospital dress? That's a whole market.
Our mother-in-law wouldn't stop saying it. That's all she would say. She's like, everybody, the hospital, the nurses were going crazy for the dress. They're like,
yeah, see, most people, okay, so they got the dresses with the baby bump and everybody's cool while you're pregnant. But after you get out of the hospital, don't nobody want to go home in a robe.
And the thing is, everybody takes a picture of you when you're leaving the hospital with the baby the first time, right?
Yes.
Everybody wants to look cute. So
I need a dress out of the hospital dress. And I think it's genius if you market that. Not to say that you have to make it. I'm just saying market it. And it could be that you have a California cover-up, especially for when you're getting out of the hospital. See, you ain't gonna do all of that. You just drop it on. Then we're walking out the hospital. And meanwhile, back at the rent.
Because at that point, you know, your belly gone down, but it's still got some ribs there. So to just cover. Terry, girl.
That is a whole demographic of the 20-somethings, the millennials that are having babies, and they still want to look good. And they're wearing the kimonos anyway with the shorts and stuff. So you just make them one where they can just kind of cover up while they're getting back together. Anyway.
And you stated it, right? This is for blah, blah, blah. Because when Petra said that to me, I didn't make for Petra. I made a top, but I made for the baby. The baby coming home dress. That's what I made.
Okay.
Oh, for the baby. Okay. I'm thinking of the mom.
I was thinking mom.
I made for the baby. I made a baby coming home dress. And most people bring all their kid, this is what the nurse said, in a onesie. And so they were all excited that she had on a pants and a little peplum top I made and a hat and band to go with it. So pictures.
You got a peplum top. Stop it.
See, that is, and why not?
Pictures. We need pictures.
And see, that's the thing that, you can't just run over to Janie and Jack and go get that. And you understand what I'm saying? This is a handcrafted, one-of-a-kind item. Okay.
Terry, you handle the cover-up girl.
And Caren, y'all handle a little bit. See, and everybody who's watching, that doesn't preclude you from doing something about this.
Yes.
It is a brilliant idea for all of you handcrafted people who do that stuff. You better get out there in your area.
It's a brilliant idea. Here was the other brilliant idea. If you're sore and you're listening here, the receiving blankets, they're so tiny. They're not big. If you got on that, most to do I don't know where to live. The snuggle, what's the word? Can't remember the
comforter.
word right now. But what you want to do is rock with your baby, and it's something snuggle. Why is it? Anyway, I'll get the word in, right? But it is so small. I used to make them when I had my boutique. That people, it used to be so low like that, and it's not a hard thing to make. It's a square or a block, right?
Yeah,
but
it's a receiving blanket.
Inches or 48. I used to make a 54 because the midwives had asked me after I went to this, and it sells like that. People just want cotton though. It sells. You could afford a pack. You could just, it sells. Mothers cherish it. They cover it over in the car seat. They put it in the straw. It's a seller.
Yes, and it's like, have you ever had a blanket that doesn't quite cover your feet, and you pull it on your feet, and then you're cold up here, and then you move? That's how the receiving blankets had been. It's like, these babies must be this big because the blankets are not covering. But if you had one that covers,
I just think as babies got healthier and larger, as mothers started taking prenatal vitamins, babies are much bigger than they used to be, but it didn't change the size of the blanket. So now the baby is long, the baby is a little wider.
Yes. And even if the baby is not wider, the baby's long, the baby's very tiny, but she's long. So the whole feet is kicking out of the darn thing. Yeah. It's kicking out. My blankets are longer. My blankets are bigger, so she used my blanket, but I didn't have cotton. I had fleece blankets. And when I put it against the ones that she was giving as gifts, they're tiny. I'm like, these things are small. They're not holding any baby in there, right?
Right.
So anyway, we went off a little bit, but just to point out how people get and what happens, getting back to Clary's and Mrs. Radford's story, she went away and get a job. And the reason I'm making sure I talk about this, because I'm not telling you if you are in predicament, you shouldn't get a job. I'm just saying, what kind of job are you getting? Why are you getting a job? Is it a crutch? Is it to get away from what you should do? Because when you're into this section where it's hard and it's conducive and you feel like you can't breathe, if you just get through that door, there's so much more on the other side. But
I don't know. I used to go to work to rest.
We stop at the door. We knock, and nobody heard us because the knock wasn't loud enough, because it's timid. It's not, I want to get in kind of knock. We just do this. We don't do the, you know what I mean, to get through the door. And that might mean whatever it means for you. If you're online, it might mean writing content. It might mean writing a whole letter. I tell people when I say content, I don't care anybody say, you write a whole letter, that's your content. And then take it and divide it into sections. That's your content. Have a storyline. Let's say you were writing in a group, right? And you didn't know what to talk about. You had a story that happened either because you went to the mall, you went to the grocery store, whatever. Case in point, let me give a little tiny detail. I went to the grocery store this morning and I saw this lady and the cashier did X, Y, and Z. The green onions were terrible. And I talked to X, Y, and Z. Write the whole thing down. You take a portion of it and start off your story. You don't want to give them the whole thing. And then you want to fit in something about your business. And then you said, if you like it and enough people want to know more, I'll come back and tell you about it on Wednesday. Don't go and give them it on Tuesday. Then go back on Friday and finish it up with an offer or something. That's your content. That's your content. Most people are trying to write stuff like what everybody else has. Who cares? It's boring. You notice when something exciting comes, everybody follow, like, that's it. Your story. I went out. The sun was shining, and a shower rain came down, and it drenched me. I forget to walk with an umbrella. I mean, these are the things I'm talking about. You know, whatever it is you talk about, inject yourself into that conversation.
I like that.
You know what you're doing, not in a forceful manner, but just inject yourself. You don't even have to sell them anything. They want to hear more. If you were in relationship matching, then you'll talk about relationship, obviously. If you're like me with mindset, you'll talk about how you talk to somebody about their mind. If it's money, it could be because you paid for somebody was short, $10 at the cashier, and you give it to them, and you talk to them about putting things back. Like, for instance, this girl was in the cashier line, and she saw me, and I was checking. And she said to me, how come you checking? I said, well, I don't want to spend $30. And she's like, I could never do that. I come to the store to buy 2 items, and the next thing I'm spending $125. And I said, oh, do you have $125? And she's like, no, well, I'm going to take it on my card. I'm like, so when are you going to pay off the card? And she's like, I guess next paycheck, even though that's that's accounted for. So I don't really know how I'm going to pay it. So I said to her, so you're buying grocery for $125, but you're probably paying $150 for the grocery. So what do you mean? I'm explaining the interest and if it wasn't paid off, a conversation we're having. What do you do? Next question must come off the list. What do you do? We're in conversation about what I do. Because why am I telling her for the dollar? My other statement to her was, what is it in this grocery basket, in this cart, that you need? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I'm telling you, nobody in the line was upset because people are like craning their necks now because they probably got too many things in their basket.
Yes.
And we put it out in the counter. I told the cashier, I said, just give us a minute. She said, yes, you got all day because I learning something right here. We got everything out. And I'm like, Caren, and she point out, you give everything back to the cashier. How much did you want to spend? Oh, $27. Okay, you're at 25, whatever. Everything else going back. You don't need them. They're not on sale. Your eyes are lighting up. You don't want them. You're going to put them in the house. You just told me the kids are not going to have them. They don't even like it. Back it goes. Everybody in the line. And nobody vexed if we spent that extra time. Why? Because a whole bunch of things got put back in carts. The cashier was like, I'm never shopping like this again. We just told you.
And
they from the store, girl. People was taking stuff out the cart.
And they saw your genius. Yeah. And now they're like, oh, we need to listen to her. Because you just shared your genius in a grocery store.
So you can share it anywhere. And you don't have to worry about it being that you can get a client. Hey, this is the other part. You have to stop worrying about being a client. Because I'm telling you this story. Because now, if you had done your thing, you can come have this conversation I'm having here. Because you've done it. You could take it up, put it into content, write about it. You don't have to name any names. You don't have to do anything. You just have to pick up what you did. Because it's so natural when you do it. It's so natural when you do it. You know, Terry could tell people about, if she sees somebody with a nice print, she could admire the print, tell them it's such a wonderful print. You know, where did you get it from? Strike up a conversation. I'm so excited when I see prints and they want to know, you know, more than likely if it goes on more than 5 minutes, why? And you say, well, I love it. Yeah, that's what you do. I'm so fascinated. Whether they become a client or not is not the point. The conversation is the point. And if they want to buy, they'll buy. And if they don't want, it's still okay.
Okay, so I'm learning.
You guys are getting what I'm really getting at with these Hustle Chronicles and what people need to do and why I'm bringing them to the table. So this is not just, you know, this is people who have businesses who get pushed into business because it's not their forte. Lots of people are in business because it's not their forte, but it filled a need, their needs and the customer needs, and that's how they get to where they need to be.
Wow.
All right.
Whoa. So,
and see, we're at number 4 with query. What time?
Yep, you got time.
Okay. One of the biggest things that happened with Mrs. Rutherford was after I did go back to her, and you know, she admitted, she said the job she got, it's like she was telling a girlfriend, and she told her, this child knows nothing. She's not a big woman, so she can't tell you how to run your life. She said, I'm not going to lie to you. And she told me, you know, what we need is a job. And she said, I'm going to get a job. And it was so horrible because the man, the person who gave her the job, told her she didn't have enough qualifications. So he fondled her, he embarrassed her, but she didn't think she could do anything about it because she wasn't sure of herself. And we went over it step by step. And one of the biggest things I did for her, she said to me, was help her to sit down with pen and paper and just clarify, not what I would like her to do, but how she want to run her household and how to just say it as you think it. Don't worry about anybody else, just you. How fast you want to do something, how consistent you want to do it, how much money you want to make, how much time you're willing to put in to make the money for it, how much time you want to spend with the girls, and really spend time with the girls. That's it. Jumping, hopscotch, skipping. That's it. That's just spending time with the girls, because we didn't have TV. You know, most of us didn't have TV. She had in her big house. She didn't have in that small house there anymore. So you got dirt. That's it. And concrete. That's it. You have and little grass. You have nothing more. You got to go for walks with your kids. You got to read to your children. You got to take them to the library. And those are your fun things. You know, whenever you go to the movies, it's a treat and it's fine. And you got to stop telling friends. The people who were your friends before, I'm sorry to tell you, they're not your friends. Because if they were, they don't need to follow you, but they need to find you and help you. And it's 2 people that did, and the rest didn't. So they weren't your friends to begin with. I mean, out of the drove of friends she said she had, 2 people I've ever seen there. One was her sister. 2 people. You know, I said, and you got to lay out, have a family meeting, like talk to them. And question used to always be me, Caren, how you know all this stuff? I'm like, I have a family meeting. It's just me and my sister. We talk about everything. And even though she couldn't answer me back, and I don't know if Lisa really knew anything I was telling her, I talked to her about everything I was going to do. She never answered me because, of course, she was a baby. By the time she got big enough, we continued our relationship. Like anything I was going to do, we would talk about it. And she didn't know much. Yeah, Caren, whatever you say. Until she's, start getting enough knowings, and then she would ask why and that sort of thing. But what I'm saying is you need somebody to bounce it off by.
Yes.
It's nice to have that person. And even though she was a child, I had her. So I said, you got those girls, like talk to them about what you're going to do. And most importantly, talk to them about finances, because when they get older, they'll understand money. Tell them, all I have in my purse is $12 when I finish paying rent. So this is all we're going to eat on. So that they know that they don't have this false idea that they're going to get a pair of socks or new sandals until next month. Like, don't tell them what you can't give them. Like, all I got is $12.50 in my purse. That's it. Just lay it out. And lay out the chores and let them know the chores is not to make them feel bad. The chores is to teach them a skill. That's the skill. I said to her, I was 7 when I started washing my, my school shirt. You see how tidy I look when I come to school? I take care of this. Like, I wash and press it. I come looking like this because it was part of what made me feel good. And I had to, for medical reasons on my mom's side, I had to learn to wash early. And that's by hand, and so they must understand the family income. So they understand that their mom is going to be selling things. And what can she do? And how could she make this work? And as I said, when you're doing, you get ideas to do yourself. So I didn't tell her everything. Because over time, within that year, she went to the baker shop and asked them if she can buy their goods wholesale and then sell it back retail to other places. She found other ways in making money. And she said one of the biggest things she learned that whenever she dates again, it's never going to be because the person could look after her. It'll be because she could look after she and her kids, and he's just added bonus. And I was ecstatic to hear that. I was one of those little girls who went to school and didn't date anybody because I'm like, you can't give me anything to give my own self. I was savvy and and my friends said it was horrible. But it's true because girls, home, I will say this for the West Indies, South America, men of a whole look after us. So if you get married, you don't need to buy anything. Your husband's going to do. And if you work, the money is your own. You don't have to contribute to the house. The money is in your pocket. There's no half and half like North America. A man is expected, when he take you from your mother's house, to pay the rent, the overhead, buy you food, buy your clothing, entertain you, look after the kids, and figure it out because you ain't have to do none other than cook and look after your children. That's how it's done. And so what happened is most women don't have it. So some of them just don't. And so when stuff like this happens, everything falls apart. Even if they don't have a maid, they're not expected to contribute financially. Because you come in promising the girl parent that you're going to take care of her. When you ask for her hand in marriage, you tell the parent you're going to look after. I'm taking your child. She's mine now. I'm going to look after her and my family. And so that's your responsibility. That's just the way it rolls. I come to North America and realize you got to pay. I was like, yeah.
You better have a plan B coming over here. Okay.
So it made the girls, number 4, got the girls. Everybody's happier and everybody was so much more respecting of money and getting, this is when she had the job, but everybody was so much more respecting the baby, started walking. I'd asked her to come get her enrolled early in the school we were at because I was getting my sister enrolled too at the time as she got bigger. And even though it was far away, it was such a good school that I just wanted her in there. And I knew if I got her enrolled the year before she was due, she had a spot. Like, used to be filled up so fast. Got the daughter in there, so all the kids were in there. The older sister went off to college there. The other one was finishing up. So everybody got a better life. And she was excited to see her kids thriving and doing better, you know, and even hear herself. And she's a laugh because she stopped wearing all those high heels, but she still wear a heel. And she loves her heels and her lipstick. She was like, you know, I can't give that up. Nobody's asking you to, but you just have to be able to say, this is what happened to me. And here's what I'm going to do. And if nothing more, guys, I want you guys to take away, no matter how bad it is right now, right here, if you're in a worse situation and if you get the divorce, if you're just sick, if you don't know what to do yourself, if money just have always escaped you, just know you just have to be willing to start where you need and ask for help if you don't know how. Okay, so Chronicles of Query. And this is
This was good.
Wow. I think it's just amazing that it was the daughter that reached out, and she reached out to a friend her own age.
They had some good girls in our school. Two of them did that. We had some really good people in our school. And that's another thing, you know, young people, and I tell my kids this all the time, or my kids' friends when they come, I investigate where they're at or what they're doing, because the kids, I find, is so different from at least the school I went to, because some people say, Caren, what are you talking about? I was writing it and it didn't happen. Our school had some kids who, I think a lot of us end up being the kids who, and God don't make me mistake, it put us where we needed each other and to help each other. That's the only way I could think about it. At that point, no. But as I get older, I realize the people I've helped along the way and the people who have visited with me, it's because they needed it, and that's the place He put them. Because there's no other way clear you would be at our school. Because as I said, they come from money, far away, and then they end up there. And everybody that passed through my life that I've helped, or they have helped me in other shape or form. Because I've been asking and needing it, and I asked for the help, or they vice versa. Whether it was verbally, consciously, or unconsciously. And then they get it. Because when we pray for something, even if you don't know how to pray, when you ask God for something, when you ask for something, as these days the likes of the universe, when you ask for something and you're diligently really believing it's going to happen, you get the answer. It's never how you want the answer. That's my thing, but you do get the answer. You might not like it either, but you do get the answer. You do.
This is like the leopard and the young girl. She said, well, if He told you to do something different, you would have done it. So why not try this? You know, listen to young people. Francis, all the time, listen to the kids.
Yeah, they got a lot to tell you. And always be curious, because there's lots of things that kids can tell you just in a different manner, especially in this day and age. There's just so many different things that I'm always curious, and I'm always excited to hear what the younger generation is thinking about. I mightn't do it, but I just want to hear their point of view, because if I only say it's me, and how it should be done, then I can't learn anything new. I'm stagnant. I can't grow. I could lie and say I'm growing, but I can't grow because they're coming. They're equipped with newer things than I. So I have to listen.
Macy.
Exactly. And they'll say, turn it this way. I'm like, what? Turn it this way, Grammy. Oh, okay. Sure enough.
You know, it works, right?
Like, maybe you should click this. What? I'm like, no, don't click it. I learned a lot. And I think one of my takeaways is don't assume that people know what the heck you're talking about just because it's common sense. Everybody is not coming from the same place. Totally. And we assume that, you know, everybody takes care of their house or knows how to take care of their kids or has their kids doing chores or whatever. So it's just, and the other thing that we do is, and I'm going to speak this to Francine. Francine, we take so many of our skills for granted. The ability to organize a household, the ability to organize a team, because I told you my grandmother didn't feed anything that didn't work. Okay.
There is an ability. It definitely, you're spot on. It's an ability to be able to carry a home, to come in and use a few words and everybody listen and do what they got to do. That's a leader in itself. To keep a home and organize a home. I said, never you discomfort a domestic woman or housewife. She's got so much skills that you can't even begin to count. You can go hands and toes. She probably don't know it, but she's loaded.
Exactly.
Get here.
Exactly. We have no idea how skilled and gifted we are because we take these things for granted.
Yes, exactly. Somebody to organize your home. Simply organizing a cupboard so that anybody can come into your kitchen and cook. Simply to organize your cupboard so that anybody can come in your kitchen and cook from left to right, and they'll be fine. Because here's where things are, and it's all over, scattered around the place.
Wow. Just the basics. Wow. Okay. Wow. I hope these chronicles continue past May because I am really enjoying hearing about these different situations and how they were resolved.
Yes, yes. I am so happy that God has given me this gift and led me on this journey. So that, and again, I never knew I would have had this platform to share.
Well, I'm hoping to see these chronicles in a book because I'm all about tell me a story. I can remember a story. I might not be able to remember different steps, but I can remember a story.
I think the chronicles, you have so many to tell. And you can break them up, just like you were saying, how you went to the grocery store. That's a chronicle. Today we're going to talk about orange sections. That's a chronicle. And there's so many things to tell. You can tell somebody's story. You can tell, and just because you tell it in a story, that's a chronicle. So I'm looking forward to next week.
Exactly.
And I feel so excited to share them. And the minute Francine said the Hustle Chronicles, like every time I go to write about it, right? It just flows because it's such, I don't know what to describe it. I get excited about it.
It takes you to a happy place, doesn't it?
It does. It does. It does. It really does. And so thank you for that, Francine.
Oh, you're welcome.
I would come with a story, but the Hustle Chronicles really showcase, and the name just flows.
Now, when it is published, I expect to see these illustrations. I'm hoping that the illustrations will not change.
I have no intention of changing them. I'm excited.
They are just too cute.
There is no need to have the picture drawn any other way. Because it goes along and it tells it exactly how it should be. So
yeah.
Okay.
Right. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you all, everyone who watched live, those who are watching this on replay, thank you so much. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Make sure you reach out and connect with Coach Caren at Island Girl Hustle everywhere. Like, follow, subscribe to her channels and pages, and to California Cover-Ups. And follow one another in the group. There, Coach Charlene was on, Janice Jordan was here, Don Robinson. And if you're in the Bay Area, Don teaches basketball too. He has a basketball camp type thing to help. And he was a professional basketball player. And so he can help your kids.
Nice.
With some skills. And if you're in the Bay Area, you need to reach out to him, Don Robinson, Bones Basketball. I believe it is BONZ Basketball. This is just good. So thank you all for tuning in. We definitely will be back next week. Tomorrow, we're going to have a live from the garden, if I'm not mistaken. It's live from the garden with Robin Shimizu. And then on Friday, we're going to talk tech because we got the GDPR changes and a whole lot of things going on. And go back and watch yesterday's program from TJ because she spelled out exactly what was happening with the GDPR and what you need to know. There's always going to be change, people. You just need to know how to respond well.
Yep, change is part of life. If it's not changing, you're dead.
Yep.
Period.
Yeah. So, Terry?
Don't forget to go to the front of your own line, guys. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.